Solutions to Paper 1, Paper 2 of 1G3 End of Year 2021. In the first question, we have to arrange a list of numbers. In order to arrange it, we need to write it first as decimals. So we convert all the numbers to decimals, and it's easy to compare which is the smallest and which is the biggest. Ascending order means from the smallest to the biggest. Now, a negative number is always smaller than a positive number. When we arrange, we must put in the original number. So negative 0.5 is the smallest. It comes from cube root of negative 0.125. Then this followed by the next number, which is 0.001, which is 0.1%. Next, we have this 0.6363, which is 7/11. And then we have 2 pi over pi square, which works out to be 2 pi over pi squared. And finally, we have the last number, which is 0.72, which is the number 2 times 0.6 squared. In the next question, we have to find the least integer value of p. Integers are whole numbers, including 0, and it must be such that it is greater than negative 0.5. Now, if you look at negative 0.5, is after the 0 point, and 0 is the closest integer to this value. So the least possible integer value that is greater than negative 0.5 is 0. Next, we can use the calculator to work out, and when we use the calculator, we must make sure that we enclose this whole thing in brackets. So because we are dividing by the whole thing, and this is the number that we get, and we see that 8383 is repeating, so we need to write it as 83, and the 2 dots above it shows that 83 is repeating. Next is interpreting algebraic form. So here we have subtract. Subtract goes behind. Subtract the cube of (2r) from the square root. From goes in front. From the square root of r4. Okay. Usually we need to simplify. Right, so that is r square minus 8r cubed. Next, divide the sum. Divide the sum of, so divide the sum, divide by product, by the product, 4 seconds multiply 120. Okay, here we can simplify, cancel this, we have 5, and then need to write this as 5p, same denominator, plus 2q over 7. And divide by 1/5 means multiply by 5. We invert 1/5. So this is the result, 5 bracket 5p plus 2q over 7. We move on to the next sum. And in the next sum, we have factors, prime factors. We are given this, and we have to find the highest common factor. A factor is always smaller, so we should be picking the smaller power. And common means both must have it. So both have 2, but the rest are not common. So the HCF is just the lower power of 2, which is 2 cubed. In the next one, we have the smallest integer that can divide by a and b. So if it can divide by a and b, that means it's bigger than a and b. So if it's bigger than a and b, it also must contain both factors belonging to a and b. So in this case here, we are picking the bigger number. So the bigger number will be 2 to the power of 7, and then it must have the factor 5 to the power of 2013, and it also must have this factor in order to divide. And finally, the last factor, which is 11 to the power of 60. So this is the final number that can divide by both a and b because it contains the factors belonging to both a and b. Right, next, 3bk is a perfect square. Now, a perfect square has even powers. So b has an odd power. b is 2 to the power of 7 times 7 to the power of 2021. Both powers are odd. So in order that we get an even power, we need another 2 that will give us 2 to the power of 8. And then we also need one more 7 to give us 2 to the power of 7 to the power of 2022, right? Because we need 2. Therefore, the number that we add in is the value of k. We also have the number 3, because 3, in order to have a perfect square, 3 also must be considered. So we have times 3 times 7 to get a 3 square. Alright, so times 3, therefore the answer is 42. In number 4, we have to express the ratio in the simplest form. Both units must be the same, right? So here is 12500. Once the units are the same, 1 meter cube is 1 million cm cube. So we multiply by 1 million, that will give us 60,000, right? And we have to reduce it to the lowest term using your calculator. That will be 5:24. Now the next question, Well, it's useful to write 1/3 x minus 2y as x minus 2y over 3. So when we write in this form, what we want is to find the ratio of x is to 11y, which is a fraction x over 11y. Now in this type of sum, we need to put x on one side and y on the other side. Right? Now, so this one can be interpreted as over 1. So we cross multiply. So when we cross multiply, then we have x minus 2y equals to 3y minus x. And that gives us 9y minus 3x. So we need to put all the x on the left and all the y on the right. So since x negative 3x, we bring over is plus 3x, so we have a 4x here. And negative 2y on the left, bring over is plus, so we have 11y on this side. Right, now we want to be over 11y, so we divide by 11y on both sides. And that gives us 4x over 11y, but we only want the x over 11y, so we have to get rid of 4. So 4 is multiplied, therefore we bring over, we divide. So x over 11y equals 1 divided by 4. Because 4 times x, so we bring over is divide. And yeah, we have to write as a ratio. X is to 11y is just 1 is to 4. Right, now the next sum, you notice that there is an interval for every nurse. The first nurse every 8 minutes interval, second nurse every 22 minutes interval, and the third nurse is every 20 minutes interval. Now, this type of sum where there are intervals usually refers to the LCM sum. So because we have to find the common value that all these numbers will add up to, and that means that we are finding the LCM, and 8 is just 2 cubed, and 20 is 2 square times 5, and 22 is 2 times 11. Right, so the LCM, and LCM we pick the bigger power of each number, so every number must be considered, and that gives us 440, and this is in minutes, so we have to divide to get it into hours. That is 1 hour and 7 hours and 20 minutes. So therefore, if they start at 8, then having a common time 7 hours and 20 minutes later, therefore the next time where they are together is 15:20. Right, the next sum is on algebra, and here we have to factorize. Well, factorize means bring out the common factor. So here we see that a is common, so we bring out a, and that's all. The sign is also common. If there are more negative than positive, then we have to take out the negative. right? So once we take out the negative, what is left is 3a. Because when we multiply negative a into 3a, we get negative 3a squared. This is how we check. And since we take out the negative, what is now left is positive b. Negative a times b is negative ab. Okay, you can check. And then finally, this is a 1, because negative a times 1, oh, this is a negative 1, sorry. Because negative a times negative 1 then is a plus. Right, and that is the final answer. In the next sum, we see there are 4 terms, and usually when we see 4 terms, it is factorization by grouping. That means each group has a common factor. So the first group here has a common factor of m. So when we take out m, we have 2x plus 5y. And in the second group, the common factor is 5n. So we take out 5n. And what you should notice after taking out the common factor in each group is that we will have a common factor in brackets. So we have to take out the common factor. It's useful to underline the common factor, and what is not underlined can be put in brackets. And this is the final factorized form, which is a bracketed form, which means multiplication. The answer is a multiplied form. Well, in this sum here, the terms inside the brackets are almost the same, except that they are reversed. They need to be exactly the same in order to be taken out. At the same time, 3 is also common, right? So now what we need to do is to make the bracketed terms the same. And how we do that? We just change the sign in front, from plus change to minus, and then we reverse the terms. Right? This is what we can do. Now, both have 2p minus q and also 3. So we are taking out 3, 2p minus q, right? Which is common to both. And what we have left, we have taken out 3 already. What is left is r. And we have taken out 2p minus q. And on the other side, it is 1. Because 3 times 2p minus q multiplied by 1 will give us negative 3 times 2p minus q. Right, now we move on to simplify. Now, we first need to open up the brackets. Right, at the same time, we may want to cancel the fraction, which gives us 7 and 26. Then we open up PQ bracket square is PQ times PQ. P times P is P square. So we have 7 over 26 P square Q square. And on top we have P Q square. Well, the powers means the number of factors. So there are 3 factors of Q. So we cancel away 2 factors of Q. So we left 1 factor of Q. And then 1 factor of P cancel with 2 factors of P. That gives us 1 factor of P below. Right now, in the next sum, we are to express as a single fraction. Before we can go on, we should notice that 3 can cancel with 18. That will give us a smaller denominator to work with. So when we subtract two fractions, we need to make the same denominator. That means the denominator both must be 6. So that means we have to multiply by 3 over 3 here to give us a denominator of 6. So when the denominator is the same, we can put under a single denominator. Numerator will be 3 times a minus 1 minus bracket 2a minus 1. We have to subtract the whole thing. So by distributive law, minus times minus is plus. Three a minus 2a is a, and minus 3 plus 1 is minus 2. That's the final answer. In the next sum is a sum on substitution. So here we use brackets to substitute the values. Just put in the values into the expression there. Use your calculator, and then you can round it to 4 decimal places as required. Key into the calculator exactly as you see the substitution. Right, now let's move on. More algebra. Now here we have square root. To remove the square root, we square the square root. And we have to do the same on both sides to maintain balance. So squaring a square root will remove it. So what is left is only what is inside the root. So on the other side we have 25. So x is 25 minus 2, 23. Okay, the next one is an equation. And well, I have written the 0.5 as divided by 2. Right, this is a more useful way of writing. All the x term put in the numerator. And how to solve this? We multiply throughout by the LCM. Right, the LCM is 20. So we multiply throughout by 20. So we multiply by 20. Multiply by 20. So every term multiply by the LCM. And why do we do this? So that we can cancel the denominator. Right, so there's no more denominators after this. So we have the first one, 5 times 3 is 15. We have 10 bracket x plus 3 and 3x minus 28. Right, so now the expression is simpler. Using the distributive law, okay, so once again, well, we have 25x here. So 3x is positive, bring over is negative, so this becomes 22x. And 30 is positive, bring over is negative, so this becomes negative 58. Right, so we divide, and our answer is minus 29 over 11. Well, we have a similar sum here. So once again, we multiply throughout by the LCM. In this case here, the LCM is 60. So we multiply by 60, 60, and 60. So we multiply in order to cancel the denominator, right? So we cancel, it will give us 30 x minus 3, and this one cancel is 12. 3 plus 2x cancel is 5, so it is negative 5x. Right, so now we use the distributive law to open up. All the x term, you have 6x minus 126. Okay, all the x terms on the left, we have negative 5x bring over is plus, so it's 11x. Negative 126 bring over is positive, and this gives us 126 over 11. Well, in the next sum, we have a weekend lunch treat, and after 25% discount from the usual price, we have $14.90. Right, you can draw a simple diagram here. The usual price is 100%, and there's a 25% discount, so 75% is actually $14.90. So therefore 1% is actually $14.90 over 75. That will give us 1%. And to find the 100%, which is the usual price, we multiply by 100. And that gives us $19.87. Right, now, Angel was given $70, okay, and she wants to know how many people she can invite. Right, so now the $14.90 per person includes 10% service charge and 7% GST. So we work out the service charge first, which is 10% of $14.90 to give us 1.49, and the food price, which is $14.90 plus the service, that will work out the GST. GST is 7% of the total food and service, and this works out to be 1.1473. Now we need to okay, so we need to work out, and therefore now the total price, this one is approximately $1.15. Right, so now is the food plus the service plus the GST will give us the total price, which is $17.50. That is per person, right? So which is approximately 17.54 in cents, 54 cents. So therefore now the number of people that she can invite, number of classmates, she has $70. So to find the number of classmates, she will have to take this divide by the cost for each person, which is 17.537. Notice that I made use of 5 significant figure because this is not the final answer. Only the final answer is reduced to 3 significant figure. But for money, it's always 2 decimal place as the answer. right? But the number of classmates is 3.99. Now 9.99 is not even a full person, so we cannot count. So therefore she can only invite 3 classmates. Right, now next we have a sum that is on interest, and this type of sum, there is a formula, PRT over 100. Right, so what we need to do for this kind of sum is to identify what is given to us. Right, the principal is what we need to find, then the rate is 1.2%, and the time is 30 months, which must be converted to years, because per annum means per year, so we must convert to years. And the interest is $400. So once we have identified all the items given, then we can put it into the formula. So putting this into the formula, we have this is 1.2 times the time is 2.5. Interest is 400. Right, so we work out on this side, we have 0.03p, and therefore p is, when we divide, we have 1, 3, 3, 3. Right, leave your answer to the nearest dollar, so it's 1, 3, 3, 3, 3. Now we have a sum on geometry, and the first angle that we need to find is angle ABD. ABD is this angle here, and we know that right, ABD. Right, first we know that these two angles, we are given a rhombus, that means it's an isosceles triangle. So we can find this angle first, which is 2A plus 80 equals to 180, angle sum of triangle. Don't forget to put the rules. So we found that A is 50 degrees, and then this angle and these angles are alternate angles. Right, so angle ABD equals to angle A. We have alternate angles, and what are the parallel lines? AB parallel to CD. Right, so angle ABD is therefore 50 degrees. Right, now we have to find the reflex angle, BMC. BMC is this angle, BMC. Now what we know is that for a rhombus, the diagonals cut at 90. Therefore, angle BMC, reflex angle BMC, is just 3 right angles, which is 270. And we can say this is the property of the rhombus. By finding the angles ADC, ADC is this angle here, and ADE is this angle, we need to show that these two angles add up to the 180, then they are a straight line. Alright, so since the rhombus we have parallel lines, therefore we can find this angle here, which is angle ADC plus 80 is 180 because this is interior angles. And the parallel lines are BC and AD. Right, so that gives us angle ADC is 100 degrees. And for the other angle, since these two angles are, or this is an isosceles, therefore these two angles are equal. So we can say that angle ADE equals angle AED. Reason is base angles of isosceles. Right? Therefore, we can say that angle ADE is actually 180 minus 20 divided by 2. And that gives us 80 degrees. Right? So now we can say that since angle ADC plus angle ADE equals 180 degrees. Therefore, CDE is a straight line. Right, in the last part, we are given that the ratio of the whole figure is ABCE, which is a trapezium, right? And the ratio of the trapezium, the area of the trapezium to the rhombus ABCD is 27 is to 23. This is what we are given. Right now, so we are not given the height, so we can actually introduce a height, and this height is the height for both the parallelogram and the trapezium. So therefore, we can say that the area of the trapezium is half sum of parallel sides, which is well, we also are not given the sides, so we can let the side be B. Right, so this side is also B. So the parallel sides will therefore be B plus 12, because DE is 12, and times the height. That divides by the area of a parallelogram or rhombus is base times height. Right, so we cancel. So now we have 2b plus 12 divided by 2. We multiply in, we have b plus 6 over b. And we can cross multiply. Right? 23 times b plus 6 equals to 27b. So we solve it and we find that b is 34.5. And that is the length of the rhombus. Right? Length of each side of ABCD is 34.5 cm. Right, in the next sum, we have a rectangle, right? We have called the width or the breadth B, and the length is L. Then we were given that the length is reduced by 25%, so then the breadth is increased by 25%. So therefore, the new area is now 75% of L times increase 125% of the breadth, and that works out to be 0.9375 length of breadth. So if we take 1 minus this, the decrease is actually 0.0625. There's the decrease, and the percentage decrease is 6.25%. Right, we move on to the next sum, and in the next sum we have a figure which we need to find out the rotational symmetry. Rotational symmetry means how many times it can be turned to fit into itself. And this figure is made up from a square, and we know that a square has a rotational symmetry of 4. So therefore this has the same order as the square, so the order is 4, because we can turn 4 times to fit into the same object. Right, now we have to find the perimeter. To find the perimeter, well, we first know that the radius is 10. So this is 10, and we have to find the area, the shaded area here, and the shaded area is well, we want to find the perimeter. So the perimeter of one partner, we have the arc, which is 1/4 of pi d, and d is 20. That's the arc, and then we have 2 lengths of 10. So this is one partner, so there are 4 parts, so we multiply by 4, right? So we multiply this by 4, we have 10 pi, this cancel out to be 10 plus 20, and right, 4 times, oh, this is 1/4, right? This is 1/4, so therefore this is 5. Which is 20 pi plus 80. cm. Okay, now we have a graph here, and the points here is -1, 3, and this point is 3, -1. First, they want us to draw a line x equals to -1. So this is the line x equals to -1. right? And the point 0.03 is here, C. Okay, so next we have to find the gradient of AB. So the gradient of AB is from here to here. Alright, so the gradient of this line. Now we can find the gradient by taking the height over the base of a right angle triangle, and the height is the difference in the y value. So the y coordinates 3 minus -1 over the difference in the x value, which is -1 minus 3. So that gives us 4 over -4, which is -1. And now we want to find the area of the triangle ABC. So where is the triangle? ABC is this triangle here. This triangle. Okay, it's quite a small triangle. The base of the triangle is 1, and the height is, well, the height is the difference in the y value, and that is 4. The height is 4, and the base is 1. So the area of the triangle is just simply half base times height 4. So it's 2 square units. Right, finally we have some on construction. Now before we construct, it is actually good to draw a rough diagram. We have this A and B to begin with. A is the ant, B is the beetle, and C is the cricket. And they say that the cricket is 8 cm from the ant. So it's 8 cm from the ant, and 7 cm from the beetle, right? 7 cm from the beetle. So this is the triangle that we need to construct, right? Then if you look further down, right, construct a triangle ABC and mark the position of C, then measure the angle ABC. So we have to measure this angle. Now then, if you read on, we have to construct position F, right, which is the foot, which the angle ABF is 30. So ABF is 30, right? ABF is 30. And then we have the distance BAF is 110, right? 110. Right, so now this is the position of F. So this is the triangle that we need to construct. So let us watch this video, how we construct. We begin our construction by constructing triangle ABC. AC is 8, so we take a measurement of 8 using our compass, transfer it to the point A. Then we draw an arc of 8 cm. And next we want BC to be 7 cm. So we take a measurement of 7 cm and transfer it to the point B. Mark an arc of 7 cm And now we have the point C, which is 7 cm from B and 8 cm from A. Next we have to measure the angle ABC. So using our compass, our protractor, place on B and take off the measurement for angle ABC, which is almost 90 degrees or 91 degrees. Right. Angle ABC is 91. Right, in the second part, we need to construct and label the position of F. F is 30 degrees from B. So 30 degrees from B is here, and we draw the line 30 degrees from B. Then it is 110 degrees from A. 110 degrees from A, that will be here. Right, so we have the position of F. That is 30 degrees and 110. Then we need to measure the distance of the cricket to the foot. Okay, so to measure the distance, we make use of the compass, place at F, take the measurement, transfer it to the ruler, and the measurement is 6.5. So the distance FC is 6.5. And that concludes the sum number 15. Thank you. Right, now we will move on to the next paper, that is paper 2. And in paper 2, we have the first sum is first to find the product of prime factors for 3, 7, 8. And what we can do is to use prime factorization, and then we get the factors, which is 2 times 3 cubed times 7. Right, now next we have to find the LCM of or the LCM of three numbers is actually 3, 7, 8. So we do not know the last number, which is m. But in order that the LCM has 3 cube, therefore m must have a 3 cube, right, which is 27. And we know that this is an odd number because what we are looking for is m must be odd number and less than 200. Now, m can also be 3 cubed times 7 because the LCM has 3 cubed and 7. We cannot take 2 because multiplying by 2 will give us an even number. So therefore, it has to be this. And when we work this out, is actually 189 and less than 200. So these are the two possible numbers. M is either 27 or 189. Right, in the next sum, we have to pack the chicken wings and fishball equally. So this is actually a typical sum on HCF. So we break the numbers into its prime factors and the HCF, which is first common factors. So 3 is common and 5 is common. Alright, so the HCF is 15. So that means we have 15 packets that can be packed. Alright, so the number of chicken wings in each bag divided by the 15 packets, that will be 4 wings in each bag. Right, next sum. This is a sum which you can use the calculator, work out the value, key in exactly into the calculator, and we have to correct to two significant figure, 1, 2. Alright, the 7 is 8 is rounded to make 7 and 8. Alright, here again you can use the calculator, and when you work out the answer, you'll find that 428,571 repeats. So we put the dot at the beginning of the numbers, the lot of numbers which repeat, and we put the dot at the end. So that's how we can represent the recurring decimal. So putting at the beginning of the recurring set of numbers and at another dot at the end. A glass table has a mass of 35 kilograms and is corrected to the nearest kilogram. So the smallest it can go is actually 34.5, which can be rounded to 35, and the highest it can go is 35.49999. All right, so therefore the answer is 34.5. Right, that can be rounded to 35. That's the smallest. Right, next sum. We have 2 clocks at the airport, and we have 2 different places, London and Christchurch. And Christchurch is ahead of time, and London, the difference is 11 hours ahead of time. Right, so that means if you add 11 hours to 0248, you get 1348. Right, now this one, we are looking at a 24-hour clock. So therefore, if the time in this Christchurch, the time in Christchurch is 7:23, then it is actually beyond 2400 hours, right? So if we consider the time in London is actually beyond 24 hours, so therefore the total time in London is actually 2400 beyond plus 723, and this one will give us the total, and we minus away the 11 hours difference. That will be the time in London, which is 20:23, and it's actually before the this in Christchurch it is 7 October. Therefore, this answer is 6 October because it's before 2400 hours. Right now, here we have an exchange rate. £1 is 188 Singapore dollars, and 1 NZ dollars is 0.51. So we can actually convert the NZ dollars to Singapore dollars by taking 0.51 multiplied by 188, right? Because £1 is 188, so 0.51 is 0.51 times 188, and that gives us in Singapore dollars we have 0.9588. So the number of NZ dollars for 1000 Singapore dollars will be 1000 divided by 0.9588. So that gives us the NZ dollars is 1042.97. The next question is on graph. And the first thing we have to do is to calculate the value of P. So in the table, T is 4 when V is P. So we just substitute into the equation. We have V is P and T is 4. That gives us a total of 30. So once we have that, we can start to draw the graph, and we have 1 cm represent 1 unit for the t-axis, the horizontal axis. So that means 2 cm would represent 2 units. And then 1 cm to represent 5 units on the v-axis. So it's 2 cm to represent 10 units. Right, so we basically use 2 cm to do our markings because 2 cm is one big square. So we mark the scale in this way. Right, so now we can plot the points. The first point is 0, 50, and that is this point here. 0, 50. Right, and next point 2, 40, and so on. Right, so we can join all the points. Okay, so now we have the graph. Then they ask us for the gradient of the graph. Gradient is the height over the base of the right angle triangle. So the height of the right angle triangle is 50, but then the line slopes downwards, therefore the gradient is negative 50 over 10, which is negative 5. Then we are asked to find V when T is 2.6. So 2.6 is here. So we draw a dotted line. Right, then we can read off. And that is 37, right? 37 cm cube. And then when the volume is 17, okay, so when the volume is 17, draw a dotted line. Then when we read is 6.8. Sorry, 6.6. minutes. Okay, so gradient is -5, and this is 37. This is 6.6. Now they say explain the meaning of the term 50. Now 50 happens when t is 0. And what does mean t is 0? T is 0, that means at the start, right? So therefore, it means at the start, the volume is 50 cm cube. Right, now they say that what happens after 10 minutes. Okay, now after 10 minutes, the volume is negative. Therefore, the graph cannot be used. It's not a good representation. Right, now we move on to the next part. Given that q is a positive integer, explain why this is an odd number. Now, 2q, right? 2q is always even because it's multiplied by 2. Therefore, if you add an odd number, then, or you add 3, it will be an odd number. Okay, now write down an expression for the next odd number. Now, difference between odd numbers is 2. So therefore, the next odd number is actually plus 2. Therefore, the next odd number is 2q plus 5. Now we have a sum on the sequence, and we need to look at the pattern. And here we want T6, and T6, right, when it's 4, this will be 4. So when it's 6, it will be 6. And then this is 3, which is 1 less, so it's 5 squared. And if you were to take a look, we have 4 plus 3 is 7. So therefore, the answer here is 6 plus 5 is 11. And this is the expression for T6. We have to write it exactly the way as all the other numbers are shown. And therefore, Tn. Now, Tn again is n squared minus 1 less n minus 1. And then we add the two numbers. Right, so that will be the n term of the sequence. Right, the next sum, we have a sum on angles. And here we have to find x. So what do we do to find x? We add all the angles, and it's equal to 360. Angle sum in the quadrilateral. Right, so we need to calculate that. It's 24x as 120 was 360, and therefore we can find x is 10. Now, what is the name of the quadrilateral? Okay, so what we need to do is to find what all the angles are. So when we work out angle S, we find that it is 130, and then the other angle P is 50. So angle S and P are interior angles of parallel lines. So that means the lines are parallel. SR and PQ are parallel. Now angle R is 50 and the other angle is 130. Right, so the angles that we have found, we have this is 130, this is 50, and this 50, and this 130. So we also have opposite angles, right? Angle P and angle R are opposite angles. Of a parallelogram. So PQRS is actually a parallelogram. Alright, now a sum on substitution. Just remember to use brackets to substitute. So after we substitute already, then we can work out 15 square is 225. This is 16. And this is 4A. So we work out what is A. That is 209 over 4. Next, we have Jane pays a fixed amount, Q, for her normal subscription. And then additional time is 2 cents per minute. Right? I have drawn a simple diagram. Q is the fixed amount. Right? This is the subscription. And then R is the number of minutes used. And for each minute used is 0.02 cents. $0.02 is 2 cents, right? That is what it says, 2 cents. So therefore the payment will be Q plus 0.02 times R. And if the fee is 30, subscription fee is 30, then it's 0.02 and R is 90 minutes. 1.5 hours is 90 minutes, and that works out to be $31.80. Okay, now move on to the next sum. This is on selling price and cost price. The price of shoes is X, and they say that the price of a shirt is 1/3 that of a pair of shoes. 1/8 pair of shoes plus $10. That is the price of the shirt. And then we have 2 shirts and 5 shoes, 5 pairs of shoes. So 2 shirt is 2 times this, 2 shirts and 5 pairs of shoes. This gives us a total of $744.50. Okay, so we have to solve this. X over 4 plus 20 okay, so multiply throughout by 4 will give us Alright, so eventually we work it out. X will be 138. Therefore, we want to find the price of a shirt. So, price of shirt. Don't forget to write statement. Is 18 plus 10. That is 27.25 cents. The next sum is on polygons, and here we have three pentagons. We first want to find M. M is the interior angle. So the interior angle, what we do is we find the exterior. It's easier to find the exterior angle. And the exterior angle will be (360) divided by 5. Because there are 5 sides. That gives us 72 degrees. So M is just 180 minus 72. So what is the reason? Reason is adjacent angles on a straight line. That is 108. Then we want to find N. N is actually made up of 2 exterior angles. Right? So N is 2 exterior angle, 2 times 72. That will give us 144 degrees. Now, additional pentagons are added to form a ring. So we continue to add in the pentagons. Alright, so when we do that, we actually form a new polygon. So what they are asking for when they ask for the number of pentagons, they are actually asking for the number of sides, which correspond, each side correspond to the side of the new polygon that is formed by the ring of pentagons. Right, so we are basically want to find. So to find the number of sides, we need to find the exterior angle of this new polygon. Right, so the exterior angle of the new polygon, let's call it X. Okay, so X, we already know N, right? So X plus N is actually 180. So X will be minus will be 36. So X is 36, therefore the number of sides or number of pentagons, same thing, because the side correspond to the number of pentagons. It's just 360 divided by the exterior angle 36. That will be 10 pentagons to form a ring. Okay, now in the next sum we have a prism. So for prism, we always do the same thing. First find area of cross section and then perimeter of cross section. So the area of cross section is half pi r square, right, plus the trapezium, area of the trapezium, which is half sum of the parallel sides times the height. And the height here is, well, this one is radius 12, so this is 13. Right, so we have the trapezium times the height, which is 13, and plus the half pi r squared. Right, So the area is 421.19, 5 significant figure. And now we want to find the perimeter. Okay, so the perimeter is, this is half pi d, and then this one is 15, 2, 15, and 6. So we have 216, 2, 15, and half pi d. Half pi d is 12 pi. That gives us 73.699. So the total surface area is 2 cross-section area. Cross-section area is 421.19. And then the perimeter multiplied by the length, and the length is 40. Okay, that works out to be 3790.34. Well, correct to 2 decimal places. cm squared. Okay, the volume is just the area of cross section, which we have found to be 421.19 multiplied by the length, which is 40. And that works out to be 16847.60, and correct to 4 significant figure. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is 4 significant figure, cm cube. Right. Next sum is also dealing with volumes, and we have to understand the diagram very carefully. Okay, dimensions are all given there, and there is a solid that is inserted in the middle here, right? And the solid is 10 cm from the bottom, and water is poured in to this empty container, and the water that is poured in is 660. So we have to find how much does the water rise. Now if you look at what is below the object here, below the object here is 10, so therefore the volume here is actually 600, right? So volume here is 600, therefore what remains is 60 cm cube, and the 16 cm cube actually 30 cm cube is here, and another 30 cm cube, right? The water fills up equally on both sides, and it's 30 cm. That means if we have a height here, the length here is 10, and therefore we have the height, and this one is actually 2. So 2 times 10 2 times the height, oh, this is 10, this one is 10, and this is 6. So 2 times 10 times the height equals to 30. So the height is actually 1.5 cm. Therefore the height of the water is 10 plus 1.5. That is 11.5. Well, the next sum has a lot of information, so we have to be very careful with the sum. We need to understand it. All right, so now we have a taxi fare, and Sally took a normal taxi. All right, and it's peak period. Okay, underline all the important parts, because peak charges is 25%. All right, and she traveled 16, and then she used credit card. So credit card also there's a charge. Right? So now we have to divide. The first km is $3. Right? So here the first km is $3. Then the next 10 km is 23 cents for every 400 meters. So we need to find out how many 400 meters are there. So we take 10 km divide by 400. And 10 km divided by 400 is actually 25 400s. And 25 400s, each 400 is charged 23 cents. Then the last part, anything above the 10 is charged at 18 cents for every 350 kilometers. So that means 350 meters. So that means the 5,000 here meters, we want to see how many 350 are there, and that is 15. And every 15 is charged. Every 350 is charged 0.18. So that works out to be $11.45. And the surcharge, right? The surcharge for the is 25% of the metered fare. So the metered fare is, we have worked out already. It's based on the distance traveled. So now this is 25% of 11.45. So the surcharge works out to be 28625. 5 significant figure again. And the credit card. The credit card is 10% on the taxi fare. So the meter fare plus the surcharge, that gives us the taxi fare. And this is 10% of the metered, of the fare plus 28625. Okay, so that works out to be 1.4312 or 13. Okay, so again 5 significant figure. So now the total amount. The total amount will be the metered fare plus the surcharge plus the credit card. So that gives us $15 and rounded to the dollars, 15.74. Now we have another person, Andy. So again, we need to underline all the important parts. This one now is a limo taxi. So the limo taxi has a different table. So for the limo, the first km, right, is 390. Right, first km is 390. But before we go on, he has booked, and the booking fee is $10. Right, so the booking fee is $10. booking fee is $10. So then 390 for the first km, and therefore what is balance is 576. Right now, this 576, that is the next above the 1 km, right? So above the 1 km is charged at 32 cents for every 400. So we want to see if we divide this by 32 cents. That gives us 18. That means there are 18,400, right? So 18,400, that means the distance that he covered for this sum of money is actually 18 times the distance. 18 times 400, which is 7200 meters, and that is 7.2 kilometers, right? So therefore he have this 1 km plus 7.2, so in total he traveled 8.2 km. Okay, now for the next sum, we have the limo was traveling at 66 kilometers per hour throughout the whole journey, passing through tunnel 1, then a certain distance, and then through tunnel 2, and then come out, right? And the taxi is 4.4 meters long. So this is the taxi when it's out of the tunnels, right? So find the distance in meters between the two tunnels. So this is the distance between the two tunnels, which I give it as D. Right, so what do we need to do is that it's given that when the taxi covered the two tunnels and is finally out, it takes 8 minutes to cover the two tunnels and out. Right, so the time when it's finally out is 8 minutes. Right, so this type of sum depends on this diagram here. The formula, speed equals to distance over time. So now we are trying to find the distance between the tunnels, and to do that we must calculate the total distance using the time, using this formula. So distance is speed times time. So what we do now is we calculate the distance for speed times the time. So this is speed times the time. The 8 minutes is 2/5, so the distance is, the whole distance is 215 times the 66. Right, that gives you the whole distance, which is actually 8.8 kilometers. And the distance for the first tunnel he covered in 3 minutes, which is 0.05 hours. So his speed is still the same. So it's 0.05 multiplied by 66, which is actually 3.3 km. And then the second tunnel is the time 1:15 multiplied by 66, and that gives you 4.4 km. Right, so therefore now we have the distance in the first tunnel, and plus D, which is the in between the tunnels, plus distance in the second tunnel, plus the length of the car. Oh, it's all in meters. This is in meters, so we change everything to meters. Alright, so the first distance is 3300, and the second distance tunnel is 4400, and then the car length is 4.47. Right, so the distance between the tunnel will be the total distance, which is 8800, right, minus away first tunnel, minus second tunnel, and minus the length of the car. Okay, so that gives you the distance, which is 1095.53 meters. Okay, they say find the distance in meters. Now we look at the fuel consumption. They say that this 100 kilometers will use 3.8 liters. So that means 1 km will use 3.8 divided by 100. Right, so for 1 to 8 kilometers will be 1 to 8 multiplied by this, and then the cost, this is 254 per liter, so we multiply by 254. Okay, that gives us $12.35. And that completes the paper 2. Thank you.